My mom texted, "We're doing Christmas without you." I just shrugged. Later, I saw the pictures, 21 people in matching pajamas, presents piled everywhere. My kids asked, "Why weren't we there?" I smiled. "We'll celebrate differently." That night, I ended every payment I'd been covering. By morning, the group chat was exploding. "My name's Barbara. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. And this is about the Christmas my parents decided my daughters and I didn't matter." 2 weeks before Christmas, I got the text, "We're doing Christmas without you. Hope you understand. Love, Mom." They wanted me to know I was being left out, and they didn't care how that would land. I stared at the screen, not even shocked, just tired. Things hadn't been right between us for a long time. I was never the daughter they wanted. They raced me to follow a certain path. Church every week, marry young, stay at home, live by the rules. I broke every one of those expectations. Got pregnant before marriage, raised 2 girls on my own, focused on work, never came back to the church after the girls were born. Over time, they stopped hiding their disapproval. They wanted a version of me that I wouldn't give them, not just in how I lived, but in how I fit into their world. I didn't sign up for their church fundraisers. I stopped bringing dishes to extended family events that I wasn't even invited to anymore. I didn't volunteer to host parties or babysit someone else's kids while they talked about how I was still figuring things out. I gave support where it actually mattered. Bills, rides, groceries, but I didn't fake affection. And that to them was betrayal. So, when that text came, it felt like the final move in a game I hadn't realized we were still playing. They didn't want to argue. They just wanted us gone. I didn't respond. Just packed a bag, loaded Ava and Lily into the car, and drove up to a little cabin near Flat Rock. It was quiet, surrounded by woods with a frozen lake out back and string lights on the porch. The girls thought it was a dream. We made cookies, built a fire, wrapped dollar store gifts for each other, and pretended we were in one of those corny holiday movies. On Christmas morning, I made the mistake of checking Instagram. There they all were. My parents, my brother, and his wife, their 3 kids, my cousins, my uncle from Florida who never shows up. All of them in red and black matching pajamas, piles of gifts, a coordinated theme. They'd clearly hired a photographer. I counted 21 people. The same house we used to show up to with casseroles and presents. The same people who called me family to my face and ignored me in every group message. I showed the photos to the girls because I didn't want to lie. Lily asked why we weren't there. Ava didn't ask anything. She just looked for a moment and said it was okay. We'd celebrate differently now. I smiled, told her she was right, but inside I was burning. I didn't need their approval anymore. But my daughters deserved to be treated like family. Regardless of how my parents felt about me, they didn't choose this. And yet, they were the ones completely erased. And that was the moment I was done. That night, after the girls went to bed, I opened my laptop and pulled up every bill I'd been quietly covering. My parents' power and water gone. The car insurance I'd paid 3 times, canceled. My brother's rent, which I'd helped with twice, done. Every automatic payment, every Cash App history, every favor they'd accepted like it was their right gone. No message, no warning, just silence. By the next morning, the group chat was a circus. Dozens of unread messages, missed calls. My mom asking if something was wrong with the power. My dad saying the internet wasn't working. My brother trying to act like he didn't know what was going on, but asking if I still had that extra rent money. I didn't answer because if they were going to cut us out of Christmas like we didn't exist, they could live without everything else I'd been quietly carrying on my back. I didn't respond to any of the messages. I just watched them come in one after another like dominoes tipping over. All of them shocked, confused, and completely unaware of what they'd actually done. By noon on December 26th, I had 6 missed calls from my mom, 4 from my dad, and 1 from my brother. That one made me laugh. He left a voicemail trying to sound casual like it was just another Monday. "Hey Barb. Mom said the power's out and the water isn't working. Dad saying something about the internet being shut off. I told them you usually handle that stuff. Maybe your card expired or something. Just check when you get a minute." That was the moment I realized they still didn't get it. They genuinely didn't understand that they'd gone too far. I was supposed to keep providing bills, support, silence. No matter how they treated me, they expected me to act like nothing happened. Like excluding my daughters and me from the one holiday that ties families together was just a minor oversight. Later that evening, my mom finally sent a direct message. We noticed the payment stopped. What's going on? Something's wrong. Just let us know. But you know, it's still your responsibility to help us. We raised you. That line? We raised you like I was still some child they were owed something from. As if everything I'd been doing up until now wasn't out of quiet loyalty, but obligation. Like it was my job to fund their lives because I dared to grow one of my own without their approval. I didn't reply, not because I was playing some revenge game, but because I was done handing out grace to people who only recognized its value when it stopped. That night around 9 p.m., I got a text from Aunt Carol, my mom's older sister. She's always been the quiet one in the family, the one who doesn't take sides. But her message was short and honest. I'd just seen the Christmas photos. I hadn't realized you and the girls weren't there. I'm sorry. Are you okay? I stared at that message for a while before replying. Then I told her the truth. Not everything, just the part that mattered. They'd made it clear a long time ago that they wanted nothing from me except my silence and my money. I told her this wasn't new. It wasn't sudden. And I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. I told her Ava and Lily had seen the photos too, and they'd asked questions I couldn't answer. She called an hour later. I almost didn't pick up, but I'm glad I did. She didn't guilt me or try to talk me into going back. She just listened. Then she said something I didn't expect. They think you walked away because of the photos. But this started long before that. I see that now. And honestly, I don't blame you. But I still think it can be fixed, if you want it to be. I told her I didn't. Because what they broke couldn't be repaired with a half-hearted apology or a dinner invite. This wasn't just about Christmas. It was about years of being pushed aside until they needed something from me again. She said she understood, but she was going to talk to them anyway, not to change my mind, but to make them finally see it. She said Ava and Lily shouldn't be treated like collateral damage in a fight they didn't even know existed. That if there was a way to fix this, it had to come from them, not me. I didn't say much, just thanked her, and we hung up. That night, after the girls went to bed, I sat by the fireplace and watched the snow fall through the big cabin window. I wasn't angry. I was just done performing. For once, I wasn't the one chasing peace or smoothing things over. I was just sitting in the quiet, letting them feel what they'd created. The group chat was still active. I scrolled through it without really reading. My brother had posted something passive-aggressive about how some people don't understand the meaning of family, followed by my cousin's message. She always thinks she's better than everyone. I kept scrolling until I saw my mom's message. Barbara, if you're trying to punish us, that's not fair to the kids. Just be an adult and talk. An adult. Coming from the woman who sent a 10-word text to cut us out of Christmas. I locked my phone and went to bed. 2 days later, my mom sent something different, not a text. For the first time in a long time, I didn't know how to feel. It was a voice memo. The tone alone was unfamiliar. It came on the morning of the 28th. No message, no explanation, just one small audio bubble in the family chat. Like a tiny landmine, I wasn't sure I wanted to touch. I stared at it for 10 minutes before pressing play. I expected excuses, deflection, the usual you misunderstood, or it wasn't about Ava and Lily. I was ready for her to twist it all into something harmless. But that's not what came through. She sounded uncertain, hesitant, like she'd recorded it more than once before sending. And for the first time in years, there was no control in her voice. No performance. She said she'd been looking at the Christmas photos again, and every time her eyes went across the room, all she could see was the space where we should have been. She said she kept thinking about Ava's little handmade ornaments from last year, and how Lily cried when the dog knocked over the gingerbread house, and how somehow, this year, none of that mattered enough for anyone to reach out. Then she said something that made my throat tighten. You've always seemed so strong, and I think we mistook that for not needing anything. I thought you were pulling away. I didn't realize we were the ones pushing you out. There was a pause. Then she added, you've done more for us than we ever admitted. Financially, yes, but more than that. We let you carry everything and called it independence. We never said thank you. We never asked how you were. We didn't show up for you. And then we had the nerve to be surprised when you stopped showing up for us. Her voice cracked once when she said Lily's name. I miss them. I miss you. And I'm sorry. That was it. Just 3 minutes. I listened again. Then a third time. Then I set my phone down and stared out the window at the snow covering the trees. I wasn't angry anymore. Not really. I'd spent years collecting that anger, tucking it away like armor. But now it didn't feel sharp. It just felt heavy. The truth was, I'd stopped expecting change long ago. I knew they'd never see me as anything but a problem to explain away. They tolerated me when I stayed quiet, showed up on time, and paid for what they didn't want to. The real me, the tired, working mother who built a life they didn't agree with, never had a seat at their table. That afternoon, Aunt Carol called. She didn't mention the voice memo. She just said, "Your dad's been pacing the living room all day. Won't say much. Just keeps muttering that he screwed it all up." That surprised me. My dad never talked about feelings. He's from that generation where men don't apologize. They just get quiet and mow the lawn aggressively. For him to admit he was wrong, even indirectly, meant something. That I asked Aunt Carol, why now? Why did it take being completely cut off for them to finally see what they'd done? She said, because people like them don't change until something breaks. And you finally broke it. I didn't respond to the voice memo that night. I wasn't ready. But I did something I hadn't done in over a year. I sent one message in the family chat. Not to argue, just to be honest. I need space. Not just from Christmas, from all of it. I've been holding everything up for years, and no one noticed until I stopped. The girls deserve better. So do I. No one replied at first. But around midnight, as I was getting into bed, my phone lit up. It was my dad. Can we talk? Not as your parents. Just as two people who hurt each other and don't want to do it anymore. For the first time in years, I felt something unexpected, possibility. I didn't answer right away. His message sat unread for 2 days. Not out of anger, but uncertainty. What did I even want from him now? When I finally called, he picked up immediately. No small talk. Just, I messed up. Then the truth. He said the Christmas plans just happened. They accepted my brother's offer to host, and never brought me up. We assumed you wouldn't come, he said. We figured you'd roll your eyes or make a comment. And I didn't want to deal with it. I told him that wasn't an excuse, especially for leaving out Ava and Lily. He didn't argue. Just said, you're right. I was wrong. All of us were. Then he said something that stopped me cold. I've been reading Ava's blog. She's 10. Her teacher helped the kids set it up for writing practice. I'd shared the link once, assuming no one cared. But he had read her Christmas Eve post, titled "This Year It's Just Us." She wrote about snow, cocoa, and board games, and ended with, "I don't think Grandma and Grandpa like us anymore. Mommy says it's complicated, but I think it's just sad. I still love them, though. I hope they remember me." He went quiet, then said, "You're a better mom than I ever gave you credit for." We talked for nearly an hour. For once, he asked questions, not about what I did wrong, but about how I'd been. I told him I didn't want money or apologies, just to be treated like part of the family. I don't want to win anything, I said. I just don't want my daughters to feel invisible. He said he understood, that he and Mom wanted to change, really change. Then he asked if we'd come for New Year's. No crowd, no big production. Just the 5 of us. I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. The next morning, there was a knock on my door. It was my brother, unannounced, holding 2 wrapped gifts. One for Ava, one for Lily. I've been an idiot, he said. I followed Mom and Dad's lead because it was easier. But it wasn't right. Ava peeked around the corner, saw him, and froze. He knelt down and said softly, "I missed you, kid." She took the gift, and something small but real shifted. By New Year's Eve, I still hadn't decided. But Ava kept packing a little bag, and Lily made me promise she could wear her sparkly shoes if we went. They wanted to believe things could change. So, just after 4, I packed the car and drove. The roads were quiet. The snow was fading. My chest felt tight, not with anger anymore, but with something that might have been hope. When we pulled up to my parents' house, I barely recognized it. No decorations, no inflatable snowmen. Just a simple green wreath on the door and the porch light glowing warm in the winter dark. My parents stood in the doorway, not smiling, not pretending, just waiting. They didn't rush to hug us. My mom gave the girls a small wave, and my dad quietly stepped aside to let us in. For once, it didn't feel like a